uh, adding and subtracting fractions. So first, we're going to start with something like this. And when we do this, our first step is to make sure that we turn both of these numbers into an improper fraction. The way it is that we do that, this one here, it's written as a mixed number because it has the whole number part, the 1, and then the fractional part, the 1/3. Okay? In order to turn it into an improper fraction, what you do is you take 3, the bottom number, 3 times 1, that's 3, right? Multiply. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1, and that becomes the numerator, and the denominator stays 3. So this whole fraction, 3 plus 1, is 4, and this whole thing becomes 4/3, plus negative 15/8. And you've completed your first step. You've changed every single fraction here into an improper fraction. If it was a whole number, a mixed number, this is a mixed number, you changed it into the improper fraction. You're done with step 1. Now, after step 1, your step 2 in adding or subtracting fractions is to get a common denominator. So we have a denominator of 3 and we have a denominator of 8. This is only if the operation between the two is addition or subtraction. Do you need a common denominator? Okay, the way you get the common denominator now, okay, you think to yourself, 3 and 8. You want to multiply 3 by something, so that way it brings you to either 8 or a multiple of 8. You're looking for what's called the LCM. The LCM is the least common multiple between 3 and 8. So you could list multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, and you can keep going. And there's infinitely many multiples of 3. This is the multiples of 3. And then you can list multiples of 8. 8, 16, 24. And you'll see that the least that these two lists have in common is 24. So you write both of them with a denominator of 24. And now you ask yourself, 3 times what gives me 24? 8. So I multiplied 3 by 8. I have to do the same thing on the top. So I'm multiplying by 8 on the top and bottom because 3 times 8 gives me the 24. 4 times 8 is 32. Now, what did I do to 8 to get to 24? I multiplied by 3. So I did that on the bottom. I have to do that on the top. 15 times 3 is 45. So I put that 45. Now I have a common denominator between these two fractions. So all I do is I do the operation in the numerator. So I just put the denominator as 24. And I say 32 plus negative 45. And I have to just do this operation. We have to know how to add and subtract our integers. So 32 plus negative 45 is negative 13. Negative 13? Yeah, I believe so. Negative 13. And then this is our final answer. Okay. Let's do this again, but now for number 2. Take your time. It does take time. So again, step 1. Get everything to being an improper fraction. So this is a mixed number. You need to change that to an improper fraction. So I do 6 times negative 1 plus this, or 6 times 1. The negative, move it out to the side. Forget that it's negative, just make the improper fraction negative at the end. So 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7 over 6, plus 1/7. Okay? And you're done with your first step. I made the negative 1 and 1/6 into negative 7/6. Now I have it where I have to get a common denominator between 6 and 7. The LCM between 6 and 7 is 42. You could sit here and write out multiples of 6. You could say 6, 12, 18, and go all the way down, and eventually you're going to hit 42. And you could write out the multiples of 7, 7, 14, 21, and you could keep going, and eventually you're going to hit 42. The least that these two lists will have in common is 42. So you ask yourself, you change the 6 to a 42. What did you do to the 6 to get to 42? What did you multiply 6 by? 6 times 7 is 42. So that means you got to do that to the top. And then 7 times 7 is 49. Make sure you put it negative 49. Always put, if it says negative, just put the negative in the top. Okay, put the negative in the top, like here. I had the negative in the front over here. I just made it negative 15, and then it was negative 45. And then when I do the operation, it was 32 plus negative 45 to give me negative 13 over 24. Now, this thing, I have 7 became 42. What did I do to 7 to get to 42? I multiplied by 6, so I have to do that to the top as well. 1 times 6 is just 6, and now I have a common denominator. That just becomes one thing, and then you do the operation to the numerator. So the 42, the denominator stays the same. But now I do negative 49 plus 6. I add the numerators. And negative 49 plus 6 is negative 43 over 42. And you could leave your answer as an improper fraction. This is full credit. That's it.